So it has been asked why I chose not to take Mike to court for spousal support. People are trying to say it's because I'm trying to pull one over on ODSP because spousal support equals income and therefore, that'd be deducted and blah, 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 blah. No, that's true. The real reason is when we looked into it, because we were going to go ahead and do that, we determined he'd have to be paying me close to $500 a month. That's insanity. Absolute ludicrous for any one person to expect that much from somebody in a month. That would take away from him being able to pay rent, take away from him being able to pay his bills, buy his groceries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want him to lose his house. I don't want him to not be able to pay rent. I don't want him to not be able to buy groceries or pay his bills. Who would want that? Like, when we split up, it was amicable. I'm not saying that word right. We're really good friends still. There's no need for me to take him to court and take $500 a month from him. That is ludicrous. He helps me whenever he can, after making sure his bills are paid, his rent is paid, so that he doesn't become homeless or have his utilities cut off. Like, I would never want anything bad to happen to him. I still love him with all my heart. Not in a spousal sort of way, not in a relationship sort of way, but as a good friend of mine. He is a very good friend of mine. I respect him highly, and I care deeply for him. I'm never going to try and pull one over on him or do him bad or dirty. Like, I don't think people realize how spousal support works. They take 1.5% to 2% of the difference in our annual income and then multiply that by the amount of years we were together. And that equals what I would be entitled to, and then you break that down into 12 monthly payments. Something like that. And because of the fact I'm just on disability and he works full time, the difference in our income is a lot. Now, because we were legally common law, and not married under the justice of the peace, I legally don't have to take him for spousal support. I was doing research on it after everybody started talking about it, and him and I were talking, because we're like, you know what? If it's like a couple $100 a month, then maybe it might be something to look into, because then that way I'm a little better off and he's not too far, in the negative. And we found out that in Ontario, at least, if you are actually married under the justice of the peace and you go through court to be divorced, that the spouse, if there's a difference in income and then, the other spouse's livelihood changes for the worse, then the one other spouse has to legally pay spousal support. And I'm just like, that's so wrong. So, because we were just legally common law and not legally married, he doesn't have to give me spousal support. So we're going to continue to do what we do, where he helps me when he can. But instead of helping me financially, he will just buy stuff for me when I need it. Whether it's helping out with some groceries, or whether it's getting me medical supplies that I need. I'd rather that than the actual financial part. When it comes to getting the insulin pump, he wasn't going to donate to the GoFundMe, because GoFundMe takes a percentage of what you make. In financial, of what you make in donations. So he just said, we'll see where I'm at near the end, and he'll chip in what he could when I was running the GoFundMe, which I'm looking at potentially starting back up. I don't know yet, but that's not the point of this post. But he can't afford $200, $300, $400, $500 a month and still be able to live himself. That's insanity. Yes. Could I use the help? Absolutely. But not if it means that he's out. not if it means that he's now in a terrible situation. That's not how friends do friends. That's not okay. So that is why he helps me how he can help me, but he and I have chosen not to go the spousal support route. I hope that this answers questions, and I hope that it's understanding. If you have questions, you can ask me, or you can ask him. I will tag him in this video, but that is why we've chosen to just do it our own way. And that's okay, because we weren't legally married, so there is no law stating I have to take him to court, thankfully. Because quite honestly, even if he had to give me the $500 a month, I'd end up giving part back to him so he could afford to live. But then I'd already be having that $500 taken off my check, so then I'd actually be losing even further. Because again, I'm not going to see him homeless or worse just because of the fact we're now separated. And especially because he lives with he has his brother live with him who is severely disabled. He is his brother's caretaker. And I'm not going to see him on the street either. What kind of person would I be then? So anyways, hope this answers questions. Love your faces.